Now, the recent announcement by the management of Dangote Refinery about commencing nationwide distribution of petrol and diesel has been described by industry experts as an initiative that will improve fuel availability and distribution across the country. Now, Dangote Refinery says to enhance distribution, 4,000 compressed natural gas powered tankers have already been deployed. Dangote says this phase of the program will continue over an extended time frame. The refinery says it is also investing in compressed natural gas refueling stations, commonly referred to as daughter booster stations, now supported by a fleet of over 100 CNG tankers across the country to ensure seamless product distribution. Experts say this will improve fuel availability, reduce transportation costs, and enhance the overall efficiency of the fuel distribution network in Nigeria. Now, the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, that's the NUPRC, has released guidelines for crude oil, condensate, and natural gas export for all licensees for 2025. Under the new guidelines, a licensee or exporter of crude oil, condensate, or natural gas must first obtain an export permit. Now, the exporters must also obtain vessel clearance and unique identification number from the Commission. Now, based on the guidelines, the Commission, upon receipt of application, shall issue a clearance notification to the terminal validating the identity of the export permit holder and verifying also the volume to be exported. According to NUPRC Chairman, Chief Executive Benga Komolafe, the purpose is to provide general rules for the implementation of the advanced cargo regime for crude oil. Now, he further disclosed that the guidelines are made pursuant to Section 10 of the Petroleum Industry Act 2021, which gives the powers to issue guidelines in accordance with the provisions of the Act. Professor Kenny Fair, development economist and policy analyst, joins me now to look at this, what seems like a game changer. This really, I mean, brings smiles to the faces of Nigerians, but like they say, the devil is in the detail. Absolutely. But first off, I mean, this looks like it signals a major transformation for Nigeria's downstream, petroleum sector. Absolutely.
It's a major transformation. I mean, this is the best news this industry would embrace for a very, very long time to come. But this is very contentious as well. So I think what we need to do is to set down what are the impact parameters. When you're going to measure, what are you measuring?
Absolutely. So because there are concerns that it could actually disrupt the supply value chain.
If you look at the social impact,
right?
What does the consumers get? What does citizen welfare mean in terms of what is happening? Would we have fuel availability more to the citizens? I want to focus on the citizens before you come to the businesses.
Absolutely.
And from businesses, you go to the contenders, which are the fuel retailers and all that. Don't lose sight of those two people. We have 42 million MSMEs and we have 230 million Nigerians. Let's focus on those two. The others are businesses. We'll talk about Dangote and these people. So who is getting what? The fuel price is going to come down. That makes people have more money in their hands to spend and buy more food and all that. It's going to become more available, which means no hoarding, no all these excuses about fuel tanker coming, not coming and all that. No, last Christmas, there was a pilot by Dangote, and we had a Christmas that there was no fuel queue, no price hike. Price maintained all over the country. That meant equalization. And it cost them over 10 billion naira to do that equalization. Now they're now going to do it on a macro scale where you are going to actually use 400,000 tractors.
4,000
That is going to cost him not less than 200 billion naira. This is a conservative estimate. And that means you are transferring subsidy from public sector to private sector. But let's get to the people who are going to benefit. Now,
who are the winners, who are the losers?
There's also going to be, are we going to have fuel stability to benefit the people, both the industries that are using the fuel that over 70% of the time they're using the fuel and generator to run their business, are you going to have price stability? Is that not going to impact on inflation? In December, we had inflation. We fought inflation with those things that happened in Christmas. Right. Inflation came down, which has not happened before in that same period, looking at the inflation cycle. So they're counting them. How about jobs? Are you going to have more employment? I've listened to the other argument that says there will be less. I don't think that is true. And don't you have all those hundreds of thousands of petrol stations in rural areas that are not getting fuel? Are they not going to start getting fuel? Those that have shut down, are they not going to open?
Yeah, but there's the other question. Staying on that issue, I will let you land on the winners.
Let me just, because I want to, so that we can have a concrete frame for measuring the output. Then how about the environmental sustainability? Who is going to, we have been suffering, people in the Niger Delta and have been suffering since 1966 when we have the fuel. So they've been suffering pollution, all kinds of things. When you have CNG coming in, it's an environmental plus. Right. They're going to have better quality of air, and you're actually going to get the highest quality of fuel in the country. And no more questions about whether you are having all this pollution and all this stuff, and your engine is knocking, and all the standards. So there are so many benefits that we are going to look at. Then companies, you're looking at, with the companies that are going to have, okay, look at the health. You go to the aviation terminals, you see the big tankers there, go to all the hospitals, they're all struggling to get fuel, and at expensive cost, at an irregular supply, and then people can't even deploy good quality equipment because they're not sure of the standard of and then they're cutting off. And so all of those will disappear. What that means is companies will have lower costs. Economy will have lower costs.
Right.
They know it, and they have ripple effect.
Now, you said initially, let's stay with what Nigerians have to get from this. To what extent, how low will petrol price, come? I mean, we're paying around 870, 900, and what have you now. When this gets fully on stream, how much lower do we expect to buy fuel?
Well, I don't have a magic number. I can estimate.
Just an estimation.
I can estimate that it will be considerably less than 800.
Okay.
And then it will begin. That is where it will begin the trajectory to go down.
Right.
Because why? When you remove the whole of that industry, fuel is a strategic asymmetry in the fuel storage, distribution, and logistics sector, and it is actually a criminal enterprise. I'm telling you, because if you look at what has happened before, when we had 30 million liters of a ship will come and then discharge 10, they record 30, goes to Ghana, comes back, they record 30. By the time he goes away, they record 90. You remember all that period? All right. When we had so much going on in there.
So all of that will be...
All of them is buy. Then you also, Dangote can put a tracker on those tankers and put geofencing on the tanker, so that if they are supposed to go to Kanu, if you move away from the route to Kanu, alarm will go.
Okay, so let me cross very quickly, because we don't have all night. I mean, you've just ruled out the benefits, and I mean, they sound like music to the ear. But there are concerns. Depot owners, they're saying that they'll be taken out of business. There are concerns about the disruption of the supply, value chain, and all of that. To what extent do the benefits far outweigh these concerns?
No, it doesn't even exist.
Are there concerns unfounded?
No, those concerns are unfounded. I tell you why. Because if you look at the offer on the table, it says anybody, it doesn't matter whether you're a small retailer or big wholesaler, that is business for everybody. It didn't say that you must sign. No. And Dangote is not on the downstream, or it's not on the retail outlet. It's just making this available to them so that those who are dead can come back to life. Those who are struggling will have guaranteed supply, and those who can't afford 500,000 litres can have a cluster of 2 petrol stations work together and get that. After all, the 500,000 will not arrive on the same day. Right. There will be tankers bringing them, so you might actually be selling before you get your 500. So it made it easy for everybody to make money. What about
the major concern of monopoly? Those who are saying that
the biggest monopoly you will get is when you are dumping substandard fuel in this country, killing people, destroying the environment. That is the biggest concern. And that's why, because how can you compare? You're not comparing like to like. One is a policy of backward integration. The other one is perpetual dependence on import. And that dependence is what has killed this country. and most African countries, that you refuse to look at a backward integration program to make sure you add value to what God has given you. God has given you crude, gas, food, solid mineral, add value to those, and then you can have prosperity, grow business here, grow the economy. So what I'm saying is this: you have 42 million MSMEs in this country, and that is 48% of the 90 million MSMEs in Africa that are going to be benefit. You are going to redefine their business. You are going to make them more business competitive, and the people that are crying wolf are the ones that are going to benefit. So don't confuse your followers with the wrong message. We want to win you away from a criminal enterprise. Look at subsidy. President came and stopped subsidy. Now the benefit of that subsidy has not reached everybody, because 50% are trapped in the NNPC inefficiencies. Only half is available to the president, and then governors got a lot of it, and then it's very little. So when you begin to win them away from what I would describe as criminal enterprise, and bring them to the mainstream and let them do business, and everybody will benefit. Inflation, you will see how inflation will be fought. In that August, September, you will see what will happen to inflation figures. It will push them down, because it's the rate of change.
Right.
And you stabilize the price, and you have less work for central bank.
Absolutely. I'm concerned about the sustainability of this trucking as a way of delivering this product. Is it a short-term measure compared to maybe rail eventually? Is that something that Dangote might be looking at eventually?
Rail is the cheapest form of long-distance transportation of heavy goods. There's nothing that compares with rail. So it is a stopgap before the rail comes in. But then it is addressing environment. Nigeria has a commitment on global warming. This is part of our transition plan.
Right.
So you can see how the president will be so happy that this is going to make things easier for him to achieve his target. We have a target, national determined contribution.
Yeah.
So that is a big push, and it's going to have stations, charging stations. So those who are going to buy tankers can actually believe they will get.
So it will address the challenge of availability of CNG now that Nigerians are going to
It's going to make complete transformation.
Right.
So people should be prepared. They should educate these people, and then get them to transit into good business. But I have a solution.
Please, very
we have marketers, oil marketers, that are powerful. These 5 oil marketers can go and start a modular refinery, and they use their tanks to store their products and export from there, and then supply to their distributor. No problem.
Okay, so
it allows
the depots don't have to be totally,
it's not a zero-sum game.
Okay, great. Professor Kenife, development economist and policy analyst, thank you so much for joining us on Newsnight tonight.